Hi, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative. Welcome. It is the 21st of January. Good afternoon, good evening, and grand rising to wherever you are. And I'm here with Honey Golden. Honey, how are you? And I think it's actually your midday today, right?
It is. It's 12:12 right now.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a good
fun.
one. I love that. That's fabulous. Oh, that's excellent. Well, honey, thank you. This is not quite our normal time to do these things, but I appreciate your flexibility on
Oh yeah.
everything. Honey is always the most wonderful when it comes to scheduling, and I have been always all over the place because the time zones are different, but thank you. I'm here in Milano today, actually, just to let everybody know. I'm at the fabric fair called Unica, and it was fascinating to see all the different fabrics and where the market is right now on fabrics and what we're doing with clothing. And there is such a push toward the natural fibers, and that's super interesting. So we're focused in on wool and linen and cotton, but it's been wonderful to experience that. So just thought I'd say hi to everybody from Milano. So, honey, after she's a best-selling author now, that's very
Well,
exciting.
thank you.
Um, so let's talk about a couple things. So today, I really wanted to get into this one concept that I think is really interesting. As we're talking about what's going on in Iran, and we have Trump and his financial team and Davos at the WEF. Who knew that the WEF would still be as relevant as it is today? But it's being used as a platform, I believe, to for Trump to articulate his agenda. Is that we're talking about what's going on with Iran, and we're still not resolved there. And then we've got the rhetoric from the Trump administration, our country, talking about what they're going to do with Canada, what they're going to do with Cuba, what we're going to do with Greenland. So Greenland we'll put over to the side and we'll talk about before. But what we're talking about here is what's going on in Iran. And so many people are coming up with oh, he went into Iran because he's going to go into Iran and is going to solve this. And, there's a problem over there. But the real issue seems to be around that there is antiquity and antiquity technology in the region. So, honey, what is in Iran that is making Iran such an important nexus that has continual discordance in that area?
Mm. So there's a lot of ancient tech. There's more than one Stargate. So that's important. It's almost like a junction. So that's important. And that's
Hmm.
never come in before, that it's like a junction. It's like a connector point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so more than one. So you can imagine it as like, I don't know, like four Stargates that come together and they all go to different
Mm.
parts of the universe. Um, some of them are way beyond what we're ready for. So a couple of them, we are not ready to use those yet. They would take us places that we're not ready for as humanity goes.
Mm-hmm.
But they want that to be more visible to humanity, and they're trying to figure out how to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So was there a reason that Iran was taken over from being a non-Muslim country to being a Muslim country? Was there a reason that it was taken over that way?
Yeah, it actually feels like that was the deletes that planned that. And they did it so that they could hide a lot of things there, could keep things more hidden. And they wanted the women to be very suppressed because they were very, like, tuned in. I feel like, did that happen in the 60s?
70s, I think.
Okay.
70s.
So
Yeah.
something happened because the whole hippie movement, that was another like push to ascension.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they
Wow.
got scared by what the women were doing over there.
Mm. The Iranian people, first of all, are some of the most physically beautiful people I've ever seen. Just gorgeous and gorgeous souls and spirits, but highly intelligent. And many of them have left the country. And the diaspora is very large in California, in Chicago, in New York. But it's fascinating to see what has happened. So tell me about why the women were so powerful in Iran.
So they had like more intuitive, but the thing is that also that tech was like activating them, it feels like. But they had a lot of the original DNA and then also Anunnaki DNA. So it was kind of
Mm.
mixed in, but there
Hmm.
was something special. So each race, if you want to call them a race, we are the human race and we're different hues of color, right?
Hmm.
But we are the human race, and there was a lot of experimentation with, humanity. And when they created a new race, there were things that would pop up in each race because of the manipulation. And it feels like they were very aware and very smart.
Yeah. They
So
are
they knew what
highly
to do with it.
interesting because I've heard also too that each country has a particular purpose on the planet and what their mission was in on the planet for different experiences, which also can relate to the races, as you say. So
Yeah.
each one of these races has a different experience. And what we're seeing in the world is this attack on the experience of each of these cultures. But honey, why did they use the Muslim culture to attack each of these different cultures, or the Western cultures, I should say?
They would use it because basically they're like shrouded. The people are shrouded, like they're all covered up. And it's like a symbol of, so is that what you mean? Like, why did they use that religion? Yeah. So they would get
Yeah, yeah.
stuck in this like very basic, very low consciousness drama about how you're not allowed to have any part of your body seen. You better be totally covered up, and they become a non-being at
So
that
maybe it's
point.
that it separates, like we know when we're together. The reason they made us during the COVID period have the 6 feet apart
Yeah,
is that the energies would connect. Would this fabric that covered our bodies separate us that way and get rid of
yeah.
that connection?
Well, it's even more severe because you can't even see a person's face.
Mm.
You can't see their expression. You can't see who they are. You can't look in their eyes. I mean, some of them, it's like total covered,
Right. And
you
that's
know?
the women, though. The men
Yeah.
weren't covered. So it was all the women that were covered. So was it the suppression of the feminine energy?
Mhm. Totally. And the men were encouraged to be really like mean with them,
Hmm.
really controlling, really, I mean, it was basically like creating a narcissistic relationship right there.
Hmm.
And I don't
Very
know if you remember
interesting.
this. Remember when we were in Morocco and we went through that like huge mud um like city and the women would go hide and you couldn't even tell who was in there?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is horrible for them.
You felt that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
repression of that. So we have the attack on these different cultures. And right now, so Iran is a representation of that, and it's been constantly repressed. So
Mhm.
then you're saying that, so we've got this ancient technology in there that was having the women be really reactive in a very positive way. Then, we had takeover of it. But right now, we're talking about, you said that there are multiple portals in there, and it's a
Yeah.
junction of these portals. What is the value or the significance, I should say, of these portals right now in this time that we should know about?
Well, it's a massive gateway. And what I did, because I knew we were going to talk about Stargates, so I did get a couple of pictures together.
Yay.
So if you think about the Stargate, and this is from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like this liquid plasma energy, right? And we have to remember that the universe is also a body. So it's the body of God. The multiverse is the body of source, and we are transversing that all the time. And the way
Mm-hmm.
that we do that is it doesn't look like this over here, this pink bone. It looks like this. So everything has fascia. We have fascia, and it's interesting that we're just discovering how important fascia is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
But think about those portals. They would be at a junction point with the fascia. So in Iran, you would be looking at a junction, like a tangle of fascia, where you could go all kinds of places from that one point. So it wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
like, let's say down here is the US, or a point in the US or whatever. And you've got one spot where you can get into that fascia because they're like little tubes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically that is the fastest way to travel through the universe.
Got it.
And if you look at that
Got it.
movie Stargate, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
huge tube that they go through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So,
didn't think of it as
yeah.
the two at first. Very interesting. That makes so much sense. So you're saying that there are multiple portals like that, and these are acting like fascia. So are those portals taking, you said it's taking, some of it's taking you into places that we're not ready for as humanity, but are
Yeah.
the other portals allowing us to get to various places on this planet or other planets that we could do that of extraterrestrials that maybe are connected with us through
Mhm.
humanity?
Yeah, so we could I get Venus and Mars. So we could handle right now, because we've been in the fifth density for a while, we could handle another fifth density planet right now. We could not handle a seventh density planet right now.
Mm.
Our
Hmm.
body would not work there.
Hmm.
So we have to think about, densities and things because we would be so heavy if we got into a
Ooh.
seventh density planet,
Ooh.
and we wouldn't be able to function at all and we could explode.
Wow.
So
Mm.
there's been, I don't know about you, but there's been, I don't know if I've talked about this enough, but there's tektites. So this is a Libyan, see, it's a Libyan glass tektite, and it's basically glass, and they don't know how it formed, right? Moldavite is the same thing. So those were
Got it.
formed during wars where spaceships that were organic came into this realm, and it was dangerous for them to do so. Like they took the wrong Stargate, ended up here, and exploded.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they were too light, they were
They
higher
were
density,
too
or they were
light. They
low.
couldn't handle the density.
Wow.
So their ships were organic. They were made of real, like physical, it was a
Uh-huh.
being. Their ship was a being, and it
Yeah.
was made from their own DNA.
Wow.
So when they came in, and I got that Moldavite was like from the Lyrans. So when they came in and they were in one of those nasty fights, the Orion Wars, and they came through and landed in Russia and exploded because their ship went from being organic to being made of glass.
Because it's the crystalline.
Yeah,
just away.
it just
That's amazing.
condensed it all.
Wow. And how come they didn't know that?
Well, I got that they were in like what we would call a firefight, with um a bunch of other, like the
Yeah.
planes, you see it in like Top Gun or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Hmm.
was basically that, and they came through the wrong doorway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Wow. Very interesting. So, who on this planet knows about the portals in Iran?
All of the governments have known. Yeah. And
And
it's always been like a fight for that.
how did this protest and reaction in Iran, how did it start?
Um, I feel like they just instigated it. So the White Hats instigated it. And it is blown up more than, like they're making it seem more intense than it is, just like a lot of the false flags.
Hmm.
So they've learned how to do that. And they have a lot of social media people as well that are
Mm.
showing how awful it is. And in some places it is awful,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's not completely benign over there. There's definitely people dying over there. That's
Mhm.
what I get. But they have to come into freedom. So just like when the UK was protesting because they didn't want digital ID, protesting will go on all over the
Mhm.
planet,
Mhm.
especially during this ending of the year of the snake. So, like you
Mhm.
were saying with Italy and the gold, there's another opportunity for protest.
Mm. Well, actually, okay, so we will go into that one second because
Yeah.
you and I were talking about that pre-show. What is there anything else that we should know about the portals here from the Iranian portals and any other portals that are on the earth and what we're hiding right now?
Think that that is the biggest junction in this area where we've been. There are other junctions outside of what we would call the ice wall and beyond the second, where the dome was.
Hmm.
Um, but they're more regulated, the ETs are using them, people are more aware. So, one thing I do get, and this may be, intense for people, but I get eventually we will be traveling that way from fascia portal to fascia portal on Earth, and then eventually beyond. And we'll have like a watch, so we'll have something like this, probably bigger, and we'll have a watch that basically takes us here and there, and you'll program it.
Just like the Stargates in the Stargate movie, which is they programmed and they had 7 digits, and you do that. Okay. So everything's
Yeah.
numbers back and forth there. That's
And you can
fascinating.
create your own portal too, I think, eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's teleportation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without beam me up, Scotty. We don't need Scotty. Sorry, Scotty, you're out of a job. That's
Yes.
great.
Yeah, we won't
So
need them.
there's a lot about the portals. So I mean, this is just sort of, we get skimming the top of what the portals are, but it sounds like you're saying this is technology. This technology is something that they want us to know about, just like they're seeding our consciousness with so many things right now. It's fascinating. So this is one that they're clearly seeding our consciousness with because many people are talking about the portals.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. But let's go to that other point that we were talking about. We were saying right now we have on the financial side, because obviously we've got silver still running up and continues to have silver be this one thing that is breakaway and back and forth because there are narratives that go out there and say, get in there, sell your silver now because it's going to just drop. And the other one's like, you can get in still right now. And the other one's like, well, it's still not a good idea. You missed the boat. So everybody's got a different narrative on it, which obviously we all have to just be where we're comfortable with. But there's this narrative about gold. And the two people who I think are the most sort of articulate on the metals and how the financial system is being ruled by that are two women, Lynette Zhang and now I'm forgetting the other woman's name, who's absolutely amazing as well. And then of course Andy Schectman, who's been incredible with all of this. But these two women come from the financial banking side, whereas Andy
Yeah.
comes from the as a dealer side. And what we're hearing is that Italy is in a little bit of a dogfight about their gold. First, Italy has been said to have the largest gold supply in all of Europe, and it was before World War II or right after World War II. And now they're saying, well, the gold is owned by the Italian central bank. But Prime Minister Maloney says, no, it's for the people. It's the government's, and they're fighting over that. What's the importance of that fight over the ownership of Italy's gold?
Now, it's so that the people stand up for themselves, just like they did in Europe and just like they're doing in Iran.
Hmm.
It's highlighting the central bank, which is has to be obliterated completely.
Hmm.
So they're basically showing you that the central bank is a bad guy and trying to steal from the people.
Hmm.
And they may protest, they may pull out of the central bank. That just popped in. So Italy may say, well, we don't want you, just like
Hmm.
Russia.
Yes, Russia did this, and it clearly hasn't been picked up that much on the mainstream press. So you've always said that Italy is the leader in Europe.
Yeah,
Are they going to do that? Are they going to pull out of the central bank and the EU?
I get yes. Yeah. Either pull out of the EU or take over the EU. I mean,
Mm.
somebody has to be the one who shows up first
Mm.
in Europe, and it's going to be
Mhm.
Italy.
Yeah, because right now we have France is, under Macron is just continuing to protest more, and financially their economies are bad and things are not moving well. Germany is bankrupt and they no longer have an industrial market, which is what they were known for. And the UK is also a disaster. So that leaves the Mediterranean countries. And of that, Greece, Italy, and Spain. So interestingly, Spain just had a massive train accident. Was that to do something? Was that perpetrated on them? Was that terrorism, or was that outside of natural causes? Sorry, I got to move the dog. He's crying.
I think that actually was something to do with something underneath. Something happened underneath.
Underneath the ground?
Yeah.
Wow. So this
Wow.
was a high-speed derailment between Malaga and Madrid. And it was one train on a track, and the two end cars fell off. They just came off, and then they were hit by another train that was coming in there 20 seconds after those two trains. Over 40 people were killed. Many people were injured. Massive, massive issue.
Yeah. It feels like something exploded or imploded underneath.
So it was intentional.
I don't think so. It feels
Oh,
like it just was shaky.
interesting.
Yeah.
So something's weird. So Italy seems to be the most stable. Greece is still a little bit more. So that's very, very interesting. Tell us about Maloney, this prime minister, this very petite blonde woman who came up from the ultra-right party, which really came from no political background. What is she? How important is she?
The white hat. So she's a white hat, and what'll happen is we'll get done with what's going on here, you know, and Italy will say, well, we see Trump's model. We see the model happening over here, and we're doing that.
Well, I got to tell
So,
you.
Yeah.
Mm.
They
No,
could
that,
even join with the US as far as not necessarily becoming the same country, but take up a lot of the behaviors at
mm-hmm.
first, especially, and they'll unite Europe, and America will unite, these other land masses, and they will begin to work with Russia. But we have to get through all this grossness first. Like
Yeah.
we're in the gross, sloppy stuff right
Mm.
now. Yeah.
So right now we have the perspective. So Maloney is really important and Italy is really important, which is what you've been saying all along. So we're
Mhm.
starting to see that really unfold. And now we're starting to see the agenda of the chaos that Trump has been creating about all these models. And we'll talk about some of the other models. But one of the things, some of the recent speeches at Davos, at the WEF, by the US contingency, started to outline what I think may be the agenda, which is attack and eliminate the globalization. And what they were saying is that America First is all about retreat from globalization. Is that really what Trump's core agenda is?
It is like they have to break down the old globalization, but eventually we will move into, oh, where are you from? Earth, and
Right.
we'll actually be like, oh, well, I'm from Earth. What part of Earth? Oh, the part that used to be in the dome,
Okay. So in a way, it's like this distinction between the one world order and we are all one.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like a very fine line, which is why it's so easy to manipulate that narrative.
Mhm.
But it's fascinating right now. It's very clear the America First agenda is being also said as the every other country first agenda, which is break apart these models. That's really, really interesting. So they're breaking apart the models because what they were saying at the WEF was, well, every country should have their own manufacturing. Well, it's not possible for every country to be producing silicon chips. Maybe we don't even need them anymore. So maybe that whole agenda is not necessary. So then let's go into this other thing about some of the models that are doing. So we've talked about the financial model being destroyed. So going away from the central banking model, which we all know
Mhm.
has been so amazing for humanity, in the negative way.
Yeah.
Religion, religion, education, entertainment. And now part of the entertainment industry that I think is under attack right now is the fashion industry. So let's talk about our fashionistas here. And what we're seeing here is a very interesting thing about the fashion industry falling apart. We have Saks Fifth Avenue, which bought out Neiman Marcus, the luxury retailers going bankrupt. Then we have all of this rhetoric, and the most recent thing that's very clear is this supposed collaboration of Rick Owens with Montclair, where it's demonic imagery. And this demonic imagery is coming back into sort of what Balenciaga did, which was all the negative, really
Mhm.
darkness and the ball kind of things. And we're all talking about, like, what we talk about in the fashion industry is this gender dysmorphia. Whereas if you look at the runways of the 90s with men's fashion to now, men are wearing purses going down the runway. They're wearing shorts, they're wearing sandals, they're wearing all these very feminine items, which we all know that we've attacked the divine masculine. And then we have this one woman who's really controlled the agenda from Vogue magazine, Anna Wintour. I remember we had that movie called The Devil Wears Prada,
Yeah.
and she was Anna Wintour. So how are we disrupting how is that sector falling down, that model right now? What do you see in that?
has to be seen. So they showed that everything is made in China, even if it's not labeled that way. So
Mm,
that happened. They're showing Hollywood and they're showing fashion right now. And
hmm.
they're exposing tunnels under people's homes in Hollywood and they're showing fashion. I mean, she looks demonic, that lady.
Anna
That's the one you
Wintour.
sent me the other day. Yeah.
Hmm.
She looks scary. She's an older lady,
Yeah.
like,
Mm.
yeah, like 70 or whatever, but she looks like, you wouldn't want to meet her in a dark room because
Well,
she's,
no,
yeah.
that was a model for something. Anna Wintour
Oh,
has been somebody who has looked the same, literally exactly the same, bob haircut, super thin for 30 years. Has
okay.
not
Yeah.
changed or aged absolutely at all. But she controls who is able to create a brand, a luxury brand or not.
So she has been, she's not even been human. So she was another reptilian. That's
Mm.
what I'm getting. Who is she now? She's an actress.
She was
She
taken
was
over.
taken out. And the reason they're going bankrupt is because the White Hats took all their money because
Yeah.
they had to, you know, ante up because they were guilty of crimes against humanity.
Were any of the
So,
fashion brands ever really making money, or were they always about trafficking?
I get no, not really. They were kind of breaking even. Their real money was in trafficking. Yep.
And how do you see this changing now?
It's all going to go back to natural fabrics. It's all going to be about, oh, I bought this beautiful shawl from, the farmer's market, or I went to Italy and I went to a shop and I got to touch it and feel it. Like everybody's going to want things that they know where they came from. And a lot of people will learn how to make clothing again, too.
Yeah.
So, but what you're doing and what the people I usually wear their sweatshirts are doing, it's very important because we need natural stuff. And people are
hmm
becoming more and more aware of that.
Yeah, it's
And
fascinating.
yeah, they're talking about the yoga pants all the time,
All
and
over the place.
how negative they are for women because they're made of plastic.
The microplastics that get into our body are extraordinary,
Mhm.
absolutely extraordinary. Yeah, right now the price of raw wool is just super, super increasing inflation. It's amazing because people want it now.
Yeah.
They didn't before. That's good. But it's fascinating to see how all of this is coming together. So tell me about Saks Fifth Avenue. Why did they go bankrupt?
So their money was taken by the White House. So all of those big fashion houses, they're all gonna like implode. And they're
Hmm.
actually showing you like the runway is getting more outrageous because the White Hats want people to see.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Because it was all about creation of greed and negativity and overusage and
Mhm.
very interesting stuff. Well, it makes sense because in the bankruptcy of Saks Fifth Avenue, you have that company owing hundreds of millions of dollars to those luxury brands that they'll never get.
Yeah.
So
Which
was
will
that part
then
of the purpose?
implode them. So it'll be like a chain reaction. Because we're not
Mm,
gonna want clothes that way anymore. We're just
yeah,
not, you know.
very, very good. That's very good news, I think. That's very good news.
Yeah.
Well, fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. So let's take a thread. Anna Wintour is English, and yet she ran American Vogue. But we've had this yin and yang, the US and the UK. You know, we supposedly broke away from them in this 1776 war.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like we ever have because you could look at the balance sheets and we continue to pay them taxes or had been. But there's another analogy that I thought was really interesting right now. So the US is being attacked by fentanyl that is coming in through South America, Canada, supposedly all from China. Yet there was another war that was exactly like that, that people have forgotten about. The Opium Wars that was an actual perpetration of the UK against China because they
Mm,
wanted to stop the Chinese from growing economically so they could be stronger. So is the fentanyl war a replay of the Opium Wars to destroy
yeah,
America?
yeah, they used it as a model. Now it's not working anymore, obviously, but
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it did work against China.
Hmm.
How close did we get for it to be working in America?
Right to the edge, right to the edge. If Trump hadn't been elected in 2016, we would have been in a much bigger pickle than we are now. It's much
Mhm.
easier. Everything is much easier because of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mm. But the opium war, I mean, the analogy, it's like they're not creators. They repeat the same playbook, and we
Yep.
just have to see the patterns in each one of them, kind of a thing. It's
Mhm.
fascinating. So why was China the one that perpetrated it, or was China the one that perpetrated this
I get
agenda?
no. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, none of it matters really. Like blaming each other is part of the division thing because it
Hmm.
all came from the elites. And it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what country it comes from because they're all the same people.
Mm,
The
okay.
elites are all the same people, they're all the same family of people.
Are they any from the East?
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. Yeah. Now, do
Fascinating.
they exist anymore? Not really. Not so
Hmm.
much.
Mm.
But at one time, I mean, they just inhabited all of the governments.
Hmm. Are they
Yeah,
out of the governments now?
mostly, yeah. There's a few left that are like capitulated, but they're being watched and they won't be here much
So
longer.
zero trust, zero
Yeah,
trust.
zero trust.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. So Trump did this huge job, and he's now in a position where there's a lot of pushback around the world. Outside of the US, it's all like, we've got tariff. Let's tariff champagne now. Let's tariff this. And now we've got Greenland. Tell us about this situation with Greenland and why did it happen now?
So all of that's a show. So keep that in mind because it's already happened in the background, but people need to know. Greenland has a lot of things. So Greenland has access to the North Pole, which is a big deal. There's been a lot going on there. It has a big spaceship that supposedly controlled the weather. Is that true? I get not completely. You
Hmm.
know, it had components in there that they learned things from, but the big control came from the North Pole.
Hmm.
Um, and also Antarctica has been doing a lot of weather stuff. So when you get closer and closer to Antarctica, the waves get calmer and calmer too. So
Hmm.
not only has the ocean been manipulated, the weather patterns have been manipulated,
Excuse me.
all of it, because we're not supposed to even have weather patterns. We're in a terrarium. So we
Mm-hmm.
have the firmament that covers the entirety of the top of Earth, and that's the firmament. And it's made of the jelly plasma of space. And that's what people want to get through with Stargates. But our weather will go back to being terrarium like as soon as the manipulation is over.
So
because we don't
we're feeling,
need it.
we've been experiencing some manipulation. Did you see the massive snowstorm in Russia?
Mhm.
Was that something perpetrated against Russia, that snowstorm?
Um, it's to highlight Russia, and they may say that it was perpetrated against Russia. Um, it feels like it was part of the movie.
Okay, so then do
Like it
that.
needed to be seen that Russia may come at somebody later and say, look what you did to our country with the
Hmm.
snowstorm that you created.
Hmm.
That's possible too.
So we've got massive, massive hurricane-like weather in Sicily. What's going on there?
Well, it could turn into the same thing. I mean, the what is she called? The one who runs Italy, the government?
Maloney, Maloney.
Yeah, Maloney. She is probably clued into that as well and will probably complain. And pretty much all of the governments will start to complain. Um, RFK is beginning to fight the fight of the chemtrail.
Yeah.
So that is the opening for all this stuff. And, we're going to get further and further. I think when they get into Greenland, when America gets into Greenland, that's going to bust open a lot of information.
Will it be difficult for certain people to understand from different countries once the information comes out of Greenland because they're so upset about the
Oh, yeah.
potential against NATO and Europe?
It will for a while. But when
Hmm.
nothing happens, you know, we're in a huge upset right now. That house of cards has to come down at some point, and
Yeah.
it's coming down right now. I think a lot of, as the NPCs start to go away this year, everything's going to shift because the population will shift so much.
Mhm.
And ETs will probably be introduced, or interdimensionals or elementals. People are going to start to see other beings this year. So the whole perspective is going to change.
Mm.
And by this time, probably a little bit beyond this time next year, we're not going to have crowds of people anymore. We're going to have humans and other beings, and there's not going to be anybody that is a figment of consciousness. So basically, a reflection of our own consciousness, or is empty and just, a body. They're not going to
Mhm.
be here anymore. So
Hmm.
it's kind of an interference that we need to let go of at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how quickly do we see this happening? 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 9 months?
I think a lot of stuff will happen really quickly, and then a lot of stuff will unfold for years.
Because we have to absorb that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the money system will change faster than a lot of other things. The whole country thing will be shifting for a while, all the different countries. Um, the money thing is the base for change because then people are not going to be freaked out about their survival anymore.
Yeah.
So that will start to shift everything. And then it will be tech. So money and tech will come in the fastest. And then it's going to be the reorganization of countries as people become more and more aware that, like, oh, well, there's other beings, there's other planets that are, visiting us, people from other planets. Why are we so ridiculous with all this
Yeah.
behavior?
Yeah. And
You
Europe
know,
has really been a big part of that. Very, very much so, because there's many small groups of very strong cultures in a very small area.
yeah,
And it's fascinating. So very, very interesting because Europe is being pushed out of it. Wow. Well, it sounds like we've got a lot to go on. They are moving very fast,
yeah, it's
extremely
great.
fast. Wow. I think that's enough for tonight, but honey, is there anything else that you'd like to cover or that I didn't ask you tonight?
I would just say, like, be in your own space right now, in your own, pay attention to your own perspective, take care of your own stuff. So if you're triggered, if things are coming up for you, take care of yourself, heal. Right now, we are being pushed to heal so intensely. The universe is done. The universe is done with the drama
Yeah.
and wants things to progress. It's just like, having a body that's healing. The universe wants its body to be healed. God wants a healed body. And if we're running around inside of that body and acting crazy, it's not having it anymore. Like the big oneness consciousness is like, okay, now's your chance. Heal in the body or come home and you will heal here.
Mm,
So we're kind of in that point right now, and that will start to taper off at the end of February after the fire horse comes in. And then it's
mm,
all about action. So we are prime time in healing time right now.
So the storm is upon us and has been
Oh, yeah,
upon us.
big.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. We knew it was true when Reuters had to debunk it kind of thing.
Yes.
Wow, super. Well, honey, that's good. We've gone from portals to fashion to what's going on with me weather manipulation, Italy's gold, and the opium wars. I think we've covered a few areas tonight, which is very exciting. And thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Very good.
So,
Thank you.
yay, thank you. Well, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative, wishing everybody a wonderful day, evening, and morning. Ciao.
Bye.